Welcome, everyone. I am pleased to call to order the meeting of the Cuyahoga County Administrative Rules Board. For the benefit of those watching this electronically, we are meeting in the Conference Room B on the fourth floor of the County Administration Headquarters Building at 2079 East 9th Street in Cleveland, Ohio. Notice of this meeting was previously provided to the public by the board's clerk, Audrey Buckholtz. Clerk Buckholtz, would you please call the roll for this meeting?
Rick Maniloff.
Here.
Awatif Assad. Here. Walter Parfiowitz.
Here.
Gregory Huth.
Here.
And Nora Hurley is absent today.
All right, thank you. Clerk Buckholtz circulated the minutes of our August 22 meeting. That was our last meeting to the members of the ARB on October 1. After reviewing them first with me, is there a motion to approve said minutes? So moved. Second by Greg. Any discussion? Calling the question, those in favor of approving the minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. All right. The ayes have it. Next, on the agenda, public comment related to the agenda. Are there any individuals who would like to comment on the two substantive items on the agenda? I do see that we have two members of the public, non-presenters, with us. Would you kindly stand and introduce yourselves? Okay. Ivy Warner. All right. Excellent. Welcome. Welcome to county government at its finest. Are there any, do you have any public comments on the rules? Nope. Okay. Then I guess I would move then to the next item on the agenda, which is in accordance with Section 8B of our Rules of Procedure. The substantive items on the agenda are to be presented by a duly authorized representative from the requesting department. And that presentation has to encompass three things. Number one, it has to describe the proposed rule and its impact on county operations or the general public. Number two, it has to state the requested action of this board, i.e. adoption, amendment, or rescission. And number three, it has to respond to any commentary submitted by a member of the public. And so as to the duly authorized representative from the requesting department requirement, we have with us this morning Gloria Langford, the Director of Benefits in our Department of Human Resources. She'll be presenting on the first agenda item. We also have with us Annie Pease, Senior Advisor for Transportation, as proxy duly appointed by County Executive Chris Ronayne by letter on September 24th. And she will be presenting on the second agenda item on behalf of the Department of Sustainability. As to the public commentary, before we proceed with the presentations of the items on today's agenda, I would ask Director Langford, Senior Advisor Pease, and Clerk Buckholtz whether any written commentary on the agenda items was delivered by the deadline of 10:30 a.m. today.
The clerk received no public comment.
Okay. All right. Hearing none, let us then proceed to item one, the substantive item on the agenda. Under Section 8B of the Board's Rules of Procedure, Director Langford, would you please present the proposed HIPAA policy?
Yes.
Good morning.
Of the submitted procedures for the health and welfare related forms and documents. Is the acronym for the Health Insurance Portability Act of 1996. Is administered by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Personal health information and related PHI, and individuals with respect to maintain certain HIPAA security compliance applies to employers' health, self-insured employer plan for Cuyahoga County. Required of all covered. Actually, the intellectual property organization known as EC Arista LLC. Have this service as a part of our contracted pass-through services. But responding to HIPAA briefs on behalf of the covered. This already evidence that the county has administered by the county. Some of the evidence did actually within the Department of.
Thank you, Director Langford. Very much appreciated. Welcome, Director Nemistil. Members of the board, at this time, under our rules, do you have any questions for Director Langford, or do you have any comments on the proposed rule? Great.
Yeah, Director, has this been reviewed by our law department?
Yes, it was submitted through a basic matrix.
Item. Okay, okay.
It was reviewed by the law department and approved to move forward. Then recommended that we the administrative rules.
Okay. And as somebody else's IP, have we been authorized to adopt it as our own?
Yes.
Okay.
And subsequent, we are noticed that there will be an update coming. Adjustment to ensure that reproductive rights information has special protections under the law. So we'll be expected to receive an update of the policy to the committee early in 2025.
Okay, and one, I think, last question. If we want to make changes to this to fit our local needs, Is that permitted?
Right, as an organization to
Mm-hmm.
this particular document, we would need to
Okay.
get their participation.
So they'd have to approve anything we'd want to make a change to.
Perhaps,
Okay, okay.
But we have the right as an organization to take any information and create a HIPAA policy.
Mm-hmm.
This EP, Risa, as an organization, that's their specialty. Our benefits consultants who are also experts in benefits and accountable any information that they clients. And it was also reviewed by the Department of Law here at the county.
Yeah, thank you.
and also reviewed within the Department of Human Resources?
I did review the document prior to the
Okay. Did any questions arise during your own review or during Law's review of the Oswald Entity Easy ERISA LLP's document? Did any questions arise?
Yes, I raised some questions. For several months. I can look, research, and get back to you.
That's okay.
Sorry, I thought of another question.
The question, law needed to ensure that, this wasn't covered entity, and so we went through a process with, three members of the there's also a decision tool. The Department of Health and Human Services that you can go through.
Hmm.
For you to go through to ensure that you are in fact a covered entity or not.
Okay. Okay, helpful. Thank you.
Sorry,
Awatif, I think you had some questions,
Go ahead.
yes, no?
Go ahead, Art.
Oh, I'm sorry, Greg.
Yes, I do. So first of all, I'd like to mention that I recall when we first met and you first joined the county, you expressed and shared with me your vision in enacting this HIPAA plan and policy before us. I applaud you on this comprehensive policy. You bring a wealth and of knowledge and expertise, and the county is very lucky to have you. And, okay, some questions here. So I see on the first page here, the introduction. Gloria, you have here effective date. Do you intend to have this policy go retroactively to January 1st of 2024?
However, as soon as applicable, this was sent to the law
Yeah, follow-up on that, Awatif? Follow-up thoughts?
Would it make sense to just use today's date if this is approved? Would be any issues, or is that acceptable?
we have our easy ERISA effective January 1st, 2024. So we're
Defer to the chair on what? whether we should use the retroactive date of 1/1/2024.
Let's talk
or
about it.
use,
Let's talk about it as a board. Greg, thoughts? Walter, thoughts?
If it's approved today by the board, it should be dated today.
I'd agree with that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. There seems to be consensus upon which I also agree. So, all right. Thank you for bringing that up, Awatif, and thanks for the discussion on this. Any other substantive comments? That was a good one, Awatif. Thank you.
Yes, and the second paragraph of that page, you reference no third-party rights. Let me just show you, it's like over here. So this exclusively pertains to privacy rights under HIPAA, correct? And that's why there's this reference to no third-party rights. It's the introduction, part 1. I was just curious about that. If you don't know, that's fine. It's the second paragraph of the introduction. Second to the last sentence. I think you mentioned that this policy pertains to HIPAA privacy rights, right? That's what we're trying to protect and safeguard. Oh, okay.
So there's a rule called the high-tech that applies to electronic transmission.
Yeah, I saw that reference. Thank you for clarifying that. Let me just go through these real quick. If someone else has a question while I...
Okay. Well, Awatif looks. Greg, you had your hand up, and then we'll go over to Walter.
Kind of a practical question. If the plan is what? The piece of paper or the stack of paper, I guess? Because the plan is, referenced in here is the plan may disclose. But the plan is a document, right?
In practice, the plan is the administration.
So who would be responsible or liable if there's a disclosure by the plan?
The county hybrid,
Uh-huh.
the residing under that being actually becoming responsible for responding to breaches
Okay.
and any fines.
Okay. Okay.
So generally, my questions, if you can go into a little bit more deeper, the complaint and appeal review request procedure on page 14 of the plan.
So the thing that we wish to do is department and guide deeper into the actual in our organization, and I know there are skills available. That would be, in our example, ranking individual administering the adopted plan, which our department would be director of children. So the assign a point to be
So it's like, would it be just a letter or that they would submit to Chief Nemistel, right, in writing? And then the other thing I didn't see, correct me if I'm wrong, a time period within the time to appeal a decision or, I don't know, a denial of a request. That's what I would recommend, time period.
Walter, do you have any questions
I have two-
for the director?
Two sort of quick questions. On page 3, part 3, covered plans. The reference here in the third line says, the plan may include certain vision, dental, flexible spending, on and on and on. Why don't we just define what's actually covered? I mean, if this is gonna be our plan, why don't we specifically state the ones that are covered, rather than saying what they may include?
So, the manual is simple to the private health welfare plan. Insured for medical and prescription drugs, FSA. Also certified after the program, to the extent that then bringing into that fold not self-insured, those particular
But why do we use the word may, rather than just saying what they do include? What do you guys think?
This paragraph also references executive compensation plans, which I don't think we have, right? And I don't know, do we do health savings accounts?
We do.
I know we have a flex spending card, but,
if we were to adopt a health savings account, you know, our health worker plan gives us the opportunity to do that. And do so, which,
yeah, okay.
we don't currently administer a health savings account, you know, when we were to do it.
Right, okay.
I don't know, I consider the flexible spending to be sort of a savings account.
Yeah.
Flexible spending, self-funded by employee plan.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything not listed here that we think ought to be listed?
Yeah,
That-
are we
that we can
limiting
think of.
ourselves by?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, it says it may include, doesn't necessarily exclude others, but it could be read that way, I suppose. It may include this. Yeah, inclusio unius est exclusio alterius, right? The old legal adage. I guess I would, Director Langford, is there anything else that you really think, or I guess we could amend it at the time, I suppose, if something comes up that we didn't see coming around the bend, right? This isn't set in stone.
Changes of law.
Yes. Right.
So if it was a written document for us, whatever. Give the time to have it when we come back before the committee to have.
An opportunity there in just a few months, all right, I guess. Okay. Okay. Is that okay, Walter?
Yeah, and I, just one more on page 16 about amendments to the policy and procedure. 6.8, the rules, policy, procedure manual may be amended, modified, terminated anytime by the employer in writing. But I mean, if this is coming to this board for approval, I think it needs to reference that in the process. You know, before you would amend it, you'd bring it here. Just as we're approving this, it should be then approved before it's submitted in writing.
Do you mean the plan itself?
Yeah. 16.
So we would, yes, anything that we would need to amend, we would bring back.
Right, but potentially add that to the language here on page 16.
Thank you. Walter, back to you, Awatif. Anything further? Greg, anything further? All right, that was a nice thorough review with I think a few suggested tweaks before the next formal amendment season comes, in not too many months from now. I guess At this point, then, in the proceedings, I would like to remind the board members of our standard of review under County Code Section 113.02G, which is to determine, one, whether the requesting entity has the authority to adopt, amend, or rescind the rule, and two, whether the proposed rule conflicts with the county code. That is our standard of review. Just to put that out there, Director Langford, would you please explain for the record why it's important that the board suspend the two-reading rule as it relates to the proposed adoption of the policy that you have presented? You mentioned that you would like us to consider that. For the record, would you state why?
The requirement to have a formal I know that in practice, in place, but the is not to be adopted, putting fines, and penalties that impose the of a breach or violation.
So time is of the essence. Okay. Thank you for that response. I appreciate that. Any questions or further comment on that piece of it? Nope. If none, then I would now entertain a motion to suspend the two-reading rule, and given that suggested tweaks to the proposed rule have been suggested and accepted at today's meeting, to simultaneously suspend the requirement that revised rules be reposted, resubmitted, and re-reviewed at us at a subsequent meetings. So I would entertain a motion to suspend those two rules.
I move to suspend the two-reading rule on the proposed HIPAA Rules and Policy and Procedures Manual with the suggested edits.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Greg has seconded it. Any further discussion on this particular motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. Clerk, please have the record reflect that all four members of the board here in attendance voted in the affirmative to suspend the rules. And now calling the main question, is there now a motion on the table to adopt the proposed HIPAA policy as revised?
So moved.
All right, thank you, Wawata.
We are adopting it effective today?
That, I think, was that was our consensus.
Okay, I think so. That should probably be in the motion, just for the record. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Amending your motion.
I second the
I
motion as
concur.
amended.
Second the motion as amended, that we to adopt the proposed HIPAA policy effective today. Yes, all right, so it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the substance of the policy as proposed so excellently by Director Langford? Hearing none, then all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. The ayes have it. Clerk, please have the record reflect that all four of the board members in attendance have voted in the affirmative to adopt the HIPAA policy as presented by Director Langford and as revised based upon comments received at this meeting effective today. Thank you. How are we doing on time? I know, Awata, if you have to depart at 11:10. Okay, very good. I don't think that we will have any need for a suspension of the rules here. So I think we're going to be, we don't have to worry about rushing. With that, welcome again to our humble board. Ms. Pease, it's always nice to see you. Please proceed then with your presentation on the adoption of the proposed bicycle and scooter share licensing rule, which you so ably presented on during the first reading of this rule, which I believe, Clerk Buckles, was June 13. So, Senior Advisor Pease, please present.
Thank you very much. Thank you to the board for having me here today to talk about this rule. For the board, my name is Annie Pease. I am Senior Advisor on Transportation for Cuyahoga County. I do want to acknowledge for the board that I'm joined for the presentation of our rule by Deputy Chief Janita McGowan, Deputy Chief of Climate and Sustainability. Chief McGowan is here because this rule for the bicycle and scooter share license has been an item of the Department of Sustainability. And as Senior Advisor on Transportation, I have been working closely with the Department of Sustainability through its transition to continue the county's role administratively for the countywide shared e-scooter and e-bike program. A quick description of the rule. The bicycle and scooter share license is a licensing tool that Cuyahoga County has in place with private vendors, companies that operate shared e-scooters and e-bikes. Examples of these companies are Bird, Lime, Veo. These are names you may recognize. The purpose of this license agreement is so that shared e-scooters and e-bikes work effectively as a reliable form of transportation for people moving around the county, and that the rules in the city of Cleveland Heights don't look different from the rules in South Euclid or East Cleveland or University Heights or the city of Cleveland. The license agreement, the rule on the table today, is a rule that Cuyahoga County holds with the companies, with the vendors. And then the devices operate throughout 5 participating municipalities in the program, 5 municipalities within the county. And those municipalities participate under this license agreement through separate memoranda of understanding that are in place between the municipalities and the county. The impact of this rule on county operations, this license agreement has been in place for a number of years, again, through the Department of Sustainability. The changes that we're looking to make to the license agreement are the fee, the payment that the companies make to the county to obtain a license. That's increasing from $5,000 per license to $7,500 per license. And then there's a per trip fee per device ride start that comes back to the originating municipality. So in effect, those 2 changes are actually bringing in additional revenue to the county in the form of the license agreements and to our municipalities through the per ride fee. And then we are also adjusting the term to a 3-year term from the date of issue to align with the permitting process that's largely overseen through the city of Cleveland. I don't have any additional response to public commentary as Chair Buchholz has confirmed none was received on this rule change. But I would also like to acknowledge Chief McGowan, if there's anything you'd like to add, you'd be very welcome.
No, we.
Okay, thank you for your presentation again, Senior Advisor Pease. Members of the board, do you have any questions for Senior Advisor Pease, or do you have any comments on the proposed rule that we've heard back on June 13? Any further comments or questions at this time?
Well, this is Greg. I'd like to put on the record, since I was the one who held this up the first time, because we don't yet have a director of sustainability. Went back through the county code when it established the Department of Sustainability, and it specifically says that the department shall be supervised by the county executive and the director of sustainability. So what I worked with Annie on and the chief on here is that this is coming to us via the county executive, and Annie is here as his proxy, so that we can finally get this adopted.
And for the record and for the video, we have the proxy letter to prove it, dated September 25 and signed by County Executive Chris Ronayne. So thank you for working that out, Greg, so that we could move forward with this. All right. I have one question. You mentioned that the license fee shall be $7,500. It was $5,000, right? I think you mentioned
Correct.
that. The per trip fee is now 20 cents per trip paid to the county. What was it before?
Previously, it was 15 cents per trip.
Okay, 15 up to 20. Okay, very good. All right. I'm in a scooter mood today, having ridden my scooter in from home, sitting downstairs, getting juiced back up.
Pay the licensing fee?
I got my own from Target. So definitely into scooters. Appreciate all that you guys are doing to present rules like this. Revenue to the county, kind of organization within the county is appreciated of these kinds of things, and just to make the county more scooter friendly generally. I'm very much in support of that as a personal matter. So, Walter, any other questions, comments on
No,
this?
I like
Awatef?
additional revenue to the county.
Yeah. Walter likes the additional revenue. I like to scoot, and Greg likes to make sure that we have the proxy letter in place. So what do you want to make sure of?
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Right. For Ivy, right?
I would also like to thank Greg for helping us work through those issues to ensure that these changes are being made in accordance with what needs to be done. So thank you, Greg.
All right.
And this does include the current insurance requirements.
All right, then. Okay, I think we are then ready to call the question. Is there now a motion to adopt the proposed bicycle and scooter share licensing rule?
So moved.
Greg has moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Awatef. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. The ayes have it. Clerk Buckholz, please have the record reflect that all 4 board members in attendance have voted in the affirmative to adopt the bicycle and scooter share licensing rule as presented by Senior Advisor Pease as proxy for County Executive Chris Ronayne. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And with that, is there any miscellaneous business to be discussed? Hearing none, would anyone like to make any comments on matters unrelated to the agenda? That is one of our agenda items. Thank you very much for your service. Awatef. All right, no comments on matters unrelated to the agenda. Then our final item on the agenda is adjournment. We will meet again in 2 weeks on October 17 at 10:30 a.m. And thankfully, Clerk Buckholz has provided in advance the 5,265,000 page document so that we can start to dig in and be prepared for the meeting coming up on October 17. We will definitely have that meeting. And this meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.